Have you ever been gaming or working online classes and your internet service constantly gets interrupted? First Nations Fiber is about to ensure that just won't happen again. Get ready for high speed at a new level. Click on fnfiber.com and sign up today. First Nations Fiber, empowering people through connectivity.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest edition of the Beading Table with your hosts, Leith Makiwa and Degariyakwa Margaret Stand-Up. Today, we're coming to you from sunny Kahnawake. We're in studio, both in the same location finally.
Yay.
And we are excited to tackle some very interesting topics today on the Beading Table. But before we get into that, we'll do our monthly check-in. Degariyakwa, how are things going with you?
Oh, they're going. I'm in my grad crunch right now, like probably the rest of town. Kind of starting to lose it a little bit.
Losing it? Like, what do you mean by losing it?
I counted yesterday. I was like, I've got 17 days left to finish, and I'm still just on his moccasins. They're all leather's all sewn up though. They're all put together. They fit. Everything's great, grand, wonderful. The vamps are on. They're already sewn on. But no, I asked. I was like, do you care if you have leather cuffs or not? And he was like, well, I'd like beat it ones. And I'm like, all right, I will. I will. I don't care, you know. So now I'm doing these big, massive cuffs on the back. So he may only just get a medallion and moccasins, which is not a big deal. But I wanted to do a few other things, and I don't think I'm gonna get there. If I manage to finish the cuffs this week, it'll give me a week and a half left, and I really did want to do his Gustoa, like the band. But we'll see. I don't know about that. I really want to do arm cuffs too. But that ain't gonna happen because it's a double thing now, and hell to the no. So
it's almost like you have to either have a beaded cuff on your moccasin or arm bands.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was at. Like the other day, like maybe I'll just slap these on his arms, like, you know, but they're too big. So that's where we're at right now. Just trying to finish that up, and then it's powwow prep. Since we're doing the damn powwow.
Yeah, for those who don't know, and because we mentioned it casually on our Instagram pages. We alluded to it. It was like an Easter egg, as they say nowadays. Margaret and I and Dagwahawi Daibo and Grant Jonathan will be having a double booth at the Kahnawake Echoes of a Proud Nation powwow this July 2024. I believe it's the second weekend in July.
Yes, I think it's I don't know. I'm not going to say a date
because
I don't remember.
It's in Kahnawake, and everyone is welcome to come. We should have a variety of things. I'm not committing any of us to anything, so I won't say what we're bringing, but we will have things ranging from maybe fabric, maybe beads, beaded items, maybe some other thingamajigs. I don't know. Shirts,
possibly. Yeah, that's what I want to do.
But yeah, so it should be a really good time. When we all get together, we're all a good time to chat with, and, you know, it should be some really good stories and a lot of mingling and all that kind of stuff. So if you're in the area that weekend during the Kahnawake powwow, please stop by our booth and visit with us and buy whatever it is we'll be selling, you know.
Hopefully we'll have stuff.
She's just joking, but you know. If you want to, this is just a heads up. If you are planning on going, and you would want to purchase anything, and if there happens to be any beaded items, I would suggest you being there when the gates open, because those items will sell out right away. Because a lot of times, Margaret, the Gwahawi, and myself, even Grant, maybe if he has any things, we don't often sell. We're often doing other things. And so if you have the opportunity and you're looking for something special, hopefully there'll be something special there for you to buy. So yeah, so that's what's happening. So you're doing that. So you have your one grad outfit, right? With your sons?
Yeah, I had 3, but the other 2 were just 2 moccasins. So those are all done and gonzo. Yeah, and my son's stuff, then I do have an order that I am going to start slowly. It's a bunch of medallions that I have to do, but I have, committed to that. So I do want to start them slowly, but they're going to be in my rotation, like when I'm sick of doing whatever I'm doing for powwow. And I have I was so disappointed. You know how it goes. You're always changing up like patterns and things like that and the way you do things. So I made a pair of moccasins for somebody, and they I loved them. They came out so good and all that, but they were way too small for her. I didn't allot enough because I put in a thicker liner.
Oh, yeah, you changed it. Yeah.
I changed it, so I didn't allot enough space, and they were way too small for her. So I had to get them back. So now I got to redo. But I know.
Just the leather or every? Oh,
just the leather.
Oh, that's not too bad.
So it's not that big of a deal. So I have to just readjust that. But thankfully, I do have to thank her because she's very understanding. She knows that I'm in like grad season right now and whatever. So I wrote to her. I said, I really didn't forget about you. Like, I'm really sorry, you know, like that it is taking a little while, but I said, like, I have deadlines. Like, so she was like, it's no problem. Like, she's not in a rush or whatever. So,
so it's not for a grad.
No.
That's good.
Yeah,
just something else. Okay.
Yeah, it was something else. So I was like, oh, thank God. I'm like, I really appreciate like your patience. Like, I don't want to be like on Facebook, like being called out for not ever like, well, Christ. Anyways, I got a lot of shit to do.
That's another topic we can do later.
Oh, God,
but so, well, that's good. I mean, it sounds like you have everything under control.
Well, not really. No, well, I do, but I don't feel like I do it. But, you know, it's just one of those times. Plus my daughter's stuff. So my daughter wants to smoke dance.
Oh, yeah, that's correct. That's right.
But I don't know if we talked about it. Where were we?
We did talk about the fact that you had advocated for her and that you finally figured out what it is. But I don't think our listeners are updated on the fact that she actually had her surgery.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So she in April, beginning of April, she had her surgery. They had to remove the cyst. They had to totally clear it all out, take it out. And then they had to use like a cadaver type of bone fill so that it regenerates. And because it was completely hollow now, like the bone was hollowed out completely and it fractured. I had a fracture in it. So they did all of that. And then they had to do a bone graft where it was fractured because they had to go in and open it more to be able to take everything out. So it was like pretty crazy. Like it was 4 hours her surgery. It was long. So Greg and I just sat and we waited and everything. The surgeon came out and everything went well and all of that. And the biggest thing was like from the get-go, they weren't 100% on what it was, but they weren't too scared that, you know, because they were talking cancer, we had to go to oncology and all of those things. But from the scans and all that, they can't really tell until they get in there. So that was like the biggest relief. Like when he came and he told us, he was like, okay, it's not. Like, we know, like, he's like, unofficially, because we still have to do pathology. He's like, but we've seen a lot of these tumors before. Or they call it a tumor. It's a cyst. It's benign. So he reassured us that it wasn't cancerous. So that was the biggest relief. I think when I heard that, I was like, whoa! I like burst into tears, you know, because I wasn't too scared, but it's there.
You're crying because you're so thankful and reassured that that's nothing's. Yeah.
So that was good. Like that was that whole process. But yeah, the whole thing of it was long though. Like she had to stay in the hospital 4 days. She was in, and by the end we were done. I was just like, please let us go. Like, you know, but she was in like pain management at that point, like, cause it was,
I'm sure I can imagine.
Yeah. Super invasive surgery. So she was, you know, really feeling it. So we actually go this week. We go Thursday to see. It's been 6 weeks.
Okay.
Or 7 now. We're on 7 weeks. So she goes on Thursday to get her x-rays to see if it's solidified now. Because the fill, I guess, I don't know how it works. Like it's not it wasn't hard. It hardens with
after time. Yeah.
So they have to double check. And then she could probably start walking on it a little bit because she hasn't been able to. She's been on her crutches. So that's been everything on top of
just a regular. Everything else. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but she's doing good. She's getting a lot better and stronger, and you know, like
that's really good.
Yeah. So thank God that whole ordeal's done. We're just hoping that, you know, it's good and she can start. So she wants to smoke dance though, and I'm like, I don't know if she will.
Yeah.
Where she's thinking, like we were saying, maybe August Paul.
Oh, that's a good one.
September gives her a few more months to heal and all that. Yeah. She really wanted to do a home, but that's like a month, so I don't think that's gonna happen. But yeah, so I have to start her stuff. I have to do her set.
Yeah.
So she has her whole outfit is done. It's already made. Queenie made it, but and
that's in the same outfit she'll wear to graduation because she's only in grade 7, right?
8.
Oh, she's in grade. Oh, that's 2 years ago. Okay.
Yeah. No, well, her grad outfit is all white, so I'm like, oh hell to no, you ain't wearing that.
That dusty, yeah, it's too dirty.
Yeah, so that's where we're at. That's where I'm at right now. Yeah.
You don't look too impressed. For those who are listening, she's not impressed at all.
I'm not. No. And you? How's everything? You're officially home.
I'm officially home. I got back on Friday. So I've been here for about 3 days now. I was away at the University of Western Ontario doing my residency. And so now I'm done. And I wrote on Instagram, I think, or somewhere that I was still like processing everything. And I think to a certain extent, I was still processing everything, not necessarily just the opening of the exhibit. I've kind of processed that. It's just all of the things that I did while I wasn't here, just all the things I was able to do. It was just, it superseded anything I could ever imagined doing. And I would encourage anybody out there to just try to do something. If you want to do something, try, like apply and see what happens. And you don't know unless you do it. And if you can work it and you get accepted doing whatever it is that you applied for, then yeah, you should try. And hopefully, like, I had a really good support system. My husband was really supportive. It was hard. I'm not going to say it wasn't. It was really hard. I think it was harder for him more than on me, just because I think you would look at it as I got the better end of the deal because I wasn't home and I didn't have to take on the responsibility of family and all those other things. And he had to do double duty. So I'm very thankful that he was able to do that because that it would have made or break, the situation. So that's good. So hats off to him and the kids for living without me, like they were able to do all their stuff and things like that. So that was really good. So on that side, that part was taken care of. On the other side, I was able to live with my mother. I hadn't lived with her for so long. And that was really nice. And it was just funny and hilarious. And at times we got on each other's nerves, just like anybody, but I was just happy to be there and to be with her and to do that and to be home because that's where I like to be. And, like if the chance ever arose and I could move there with my family or whatever, I would in a heartbeat. I mean, I like it there. I like it here too, but I love it there too, So being home was good for me. It really was. And it kind of all worked and gelled like one big giant puzzle and things really fell into place and things I never thought were in the story of my residency were able to really impact my creative. I have to write. It's funny because when you do something, when you get a grant or when you get a residency or different things or anything really, sometimes you have to write oh my God, not a project proposal, heaven's sakes, a report on like what it is. Yeah. And so I have to really reflect on what I did. So the language that I have to use is a different kind of language, not kind of like, when you're working professionally, sometimes you have to change your vocabulary to suit the profession. So I'm like, my creative outlet is changed or my grills or my, vision and all these other artistic whatever endeavors. Well, I had a lot of very artistic endeavors, things I never thought I would do. Silversmithing. I made a leather handbag. I did. Yeah. And I would for sure the woodwork part, the embroidery, the couture embroidery. I did lino cut, block printing on leather, and I made moccasins. So that's something I never thought I could do. And I'm like, that is God, it really, really takes the pressure off of beading a whole pair of moccasins when some of it is printed on there, so that was good. I mean, that was a success and that chip carving and just different things, like things I really never thought that would be attainable were able to be accomplished there. And somebody was asking what is this your best work? Because I finished that cradle board, which was what I wanted to do. Right. And they said, is that your best work? And I said, I don't really know. I said, I don't really look at it as it's beautiful. I like it. I'm glad it's done because that's what I wanted to do. But I don't know if it all depends on who you ask, right? What some people might like something else, I just said it's the accomplishment of knowing that 12 years ago, I had an idea. If I had no idea if it was going to even be done, but I had an idea 12 years ago and people I encountered within that 12 years and things that I did personally and then professionally as an educator and professionally as an artist really got to where I am today, and I was able to fulfill that goal, kind of like a pipe dream, I want to do this. Meanwhile, I have no experience doing that at all. And so I think that is the biggest takeaway for me is the accomplishment of a goal that I was playing the long game, really. I had no set plan for sure. And it just kind of ended up working out how it did, which I think for a lot of people doesn't necessarily happen. Some people really have to really plan to make their dreams come true, and I didn't have a set plan, but it worked out. And I think that's the biggest accomplishment of it all is that I was able to do this. And I think regardless of like what it is you're doing, you know, like I was telling somebody out of Nage, like they want a new building. They want a new building for a long time. And now they play the long game, and every year they move closer and closer. And then in the fall, they're going to break ground and they're going to build a new building. Or like, you know, schools or things, anything, you know, opening up your own business, you know, leaving one job to another job. It's sometimes it's that in itself is the accomplishment, not necessarily the end product, you know? So I think for that, that's really like the biggest takeaway of my whole residency and the time I spent away in the 8 months. And it was a long time, and I'm glad to be back. Like, you know, it's always wonderful to be back with my family, and I really miss that kind of thing. But they've grown up so much since I was gone. So like, you know, it's not, he you know, it's not the same as it was, and nor should it be, you know, it's things people have to grow and do all those kind of things. But I think my house was happy to see me, you know, like, but it takes a lot of getting used to, you know, I guess for any of those people out there who have moved away or work away, or it takes there's a learning curve to come back to, you know. I have a studio that is still packed in boxes and just waiting for me to get that done. And a house, the same thing. I have stuff I have to unpack, but you accumulate a lot. And let me tell you, I accumulated twice as much as I had brought there. And so I have a lot to bring back. I had brought one shipment of goods with me, and then now I have another shipment I have to go back to close out my exhibit and pick up the rest of my stuff. So there's that. But there's so much to happen. Like I went to the Seneca Museum and I did that, and I won bust a show there. And
I didn't know you were bringing it there. I thought it was only going to be at the like you're showing at the university. So I was like, hey, I didn't know I was going there.
Yeah. That was. I mean, it wasn't going there obviously when I didn't know about the show. Like it was just whatever, you know. So my end date was like the 20th of May, because that's when my show was going to be ready to be installed. So I was like, the 20th of May, I'll have it done. And then the show came, and it was like 6th of May. And then I had gone on my trip to Europe and all those other things that I did. And I was like, but I got it done, you know, like I busted my butt literally to get it done. And the payout was, it's done. And now I don't have to make anything for Santa Fe, a big something. I can make some little stuff, but I put it in the show there, and it got us a show, and that was really good. And it was nice, you know. And then when I had my exhibit opening on Thursday last week, it was something else. It was a surreal experience. Like, you know, not just having that piece shown, that was like not even like the most impactful part of it, you know, like I think without that piece, nothing would have happened, because that's what my project was based on and how I applied to be the resident there. And so, but it was like having those ladies, Shelley, Faye, Twyla, and Samantha, be able to be showcased and applauded for their work, because they do work outside of, I mean, they're not all professional artists. They're educators. They work in employment training. They work with other people there to like science. They also work like how to empower other people through various crafts things and stuff like that, like workshops and whatnot. And so to have them have the opportunity to showcase their work and to see all of the growth that they did and how we bonded, like at the beading table, literally at the beading table and different things like that. I mean, that was really nice. And when I went to Western in September, I was talking and I drew a picture on my wall about what I wanted the exhibit to look like and the feel and people to be moving around. And that's how it would have been if people were wearing their boards. People would be all over and kids would be just watching. And that's exactly what it was. And the vibe was electric. You know, people were talking and conversing and different things. And it was just really a good feeling to see and to watch. And that's really what I wanted to do, was to watch it. And the icing on the cake is that Iris and Wagataruni and Watahina went and surprised me there. And I had no idea they were going. And it was like very emotional for me. I could not believe it. It was like, it meant more than I actually thought ever. So that was really nice. And, but yeah, so it was a success. It opened on the 30th of May and it goes until June 20th. So I at the University of Western Ontario. So yeah, and then it's prep for the Santa Fe Indie Market. I mean, no, prep for powwow. For the powwow. I mean, market. I have 3 grad orders. I have one that is, I would say, pretty much done. I have one tweak thing to do, and there's that. But then I have 2 other ones that are not complete. So I'm on the same 7. There's a 3rd today. That's 16 days. We have 16 days, and I'm spending 4 days in Victoria. I leave tomorrow, so that should be interesting.
Yeah.
But you know, but I'm glad I'm in good company. There's a lot of people out there who probably maybe when they're listening to this will have been done. their grad orders, so that everyone will be a little bit stress-free, less stressed, as they say, and then maybe getting on to whatever other projects they have coming down the chute. Because I have 3 orders next year.
Yeah.
Not orders. Well, I have 3 outfits I have to do next year. But thankfully, it's just for my family, like 2 for my son and 1 for my niece. So not 2 for my son. 2 of my sons are graduating, and I have a niece that's graduating. So that's it. I'm not taking anybody else's stuff.
Orders, yeah. I know. I have my nephews too next year already. Told his mother, I said, I'll do his stuff. Like,
yeah.
But I'm like, get it to me like in September. Like, I want it done right away. I don't want to be doing this and sitting here waiting and worrying. And anyways, but I'll probably do it anyways. So I'll probably be down to the wire again, as always.
I took my kids out to supper. Well, I took my family out to supper on Friday when I got back, and I asked my boys, I'm like, so what colors do you want? Like already, you know, like what is it you all want? And
prep and plan. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was good.
Yeah.
But they all have stuff from like grade 6, and my other son has stuff from when he graduated from high school. But, you know.
It's always nice to have
something new. I mean, they have all their new fresh stuff, and he still has like Zippo.
Yeah, same here. Well, and that too, I'm like, oh my God. Like my son this year by far had to have been the roughest for our family, like just with everything going on and everything, like, and I don't mean like life, I mean like school wise. Like my son was just done. He just did not want to be there anymore.
Yeah.
So it was a struggle this year to get him there, to get him motivated, to get him to want to participate or do anything. And then my daughter with her surgery and everything, like, you know, and other things, it was just like, it was a lot. It was a lot. And so I was just like, he did struggle in the first few terms. So now I'm like, please graduate. Just get it done. Like, you know, like you're fed up. I'm fed up. We're all fed up. Like, just do it and get out of here now. You know, like if you really just hate school that much, like, fine, I get it. So did I. But just get out of there then, you know? And I'm like, you know, pass or fail, whatever, like, you're like, you still need a certificate though. So I was like,
you need that paper.
You don't want to have to redo this next year somewhere else. Like, he'll have to go to adult ed. And I'm like, that's a whole year wasted. Like, just, you know. So I do have to
applaud him
because he really busted this term.
Good for
so
him.
A lot of the classes that he was like failing in, he's got like 90s now and things like that. So
which proves that, you know, for a little hard work, a little bit more motivation on his own part, he's able. He
was just done. So, but we're still, because some of the marks were a little low, so we're still kind of like just maybe
teetering.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. Some are depending on his exams, which they're all in this week.
Yeah,
and he had some last week. So I am like, oh my God, please, like, just pass him now. Just bump him over that line if need be. Nah.
Does he have plans for next year? Does he know yet or not yet?
Not really. He wants to go into trades, but he's not sure what. I think he put his name in for welding.
Oh,
and then there was another program that he wanted to apply for.
Good.
So that's his.
That's what my son too also wants to do. He wants to go into a trade.
Yeah. So it's something that it's a skill he'll always need or use, and you know, it's good to have. So that's kind of the plan, I guess, next year. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's where it's all at. So
we're just looking at the book to see what it is we're going to ask. So here's maybe piggybacking off of that. One person had a question last month. Was it last month? The last time we had posed for questions.
We're a little over.
I think we are. That's true. It says how to stay motivated. Obviously, motivated in beadwork. She says, especially doing line work, it gets boring real quick. And I just, I don't have a problem with it. I find the motivation is seeing it complete. I mean, that sounds kind of like obvious, but that's for me. I do it that way. And I find if I do that first, it's easier because it does get boring. And it kind of is like my payout is I can finish it and do something else. Like, you know, like that's really all it is for me.
It's really like, I just posted it not too long ago. Like,
you said
I hate it too. Like I
hate it
like,
too.
Oh, but when it's done, it's smooth after that. It's literally just going up that hill. And then once it's done, it's all downhill, like filling in flowers, doing lines. I mean, the leaves and all that. That's nothing. Like,
it's the line work.
Yeah. So I do find having like a good show, something that's going to help you get through it. Sometimes I'll save things where I'm like, okay, I'm not going to watch that because I need to use that for something else like later on. So that's kind of how I motivate, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I would never leave the lines to last time. I mean, like because there's different types of lines, right? Like there's line work, like the line, like the white lines, or like the geometric,
straight,
the straight, or there's line work like when you're beading flowers.
Yeah, all
and you're outlining all that, or even stems. People could consider that line work too, because that takes a long time
flat,
too.
Yeah.
What I do is if I'm doing line work, I do line work, like the geometric lines, whatever, like that kind of thing. And then I do all of my outlining for flowers if I have, and all of the vines, minus those little like twig things or little embellishment things. I don't do that. But I do all of that first.
Like the major stuff. Yeah, me too, because sometimes like my drawings don't always match up, I guess, or space wise. Like, so I'll do some of the bigger vine lines, but not all, because I know like when I'm drawing and I'm like, okay, I just keep in mind you may move things. So I won't do like the smaller things, but if there's a major line that's coming through, then I'll do that right away too. But that was me last week. And I'm still there because now I'm doing his cuffs. Delberto's cuffs, and they're like super big, like they're long, and I'm like, oh my god,
I know
it's taking forever. But this time too, I didn't cycle anything. I literally did one piece at a time. So it was like I did the medallion. That's not even put together yet, but it's done.
Yeah.
I did the moccasins. I sewed them up. That was done. I did the liner. That was done. I did the beadwork. That was done. And this time, because of what happened last time and me not being okay with them, like, I did those pair of moccasins that ended up not fitting. I was struggling with this pattern because I had already done a pair that I have for him, and I just really didn't like them. There was like something totally wrong. So everything got redone. Like Dagwa even was like,
oh, that's a picture you posted on Instagram. Yeah.
So we were just sitting there and like recalculating and doing all different stuff and whatever. And she retraced it, and we just I added, she added, like whatever. And then, it came out a lot better. So I was like, I couldn't, because I knew I had to reformulate everything, because the last pair I hated. And that last pair I hated included the size of the vamp and the spacing of like puckers and everything. So I'm like, I can't bead yet. I can't even.
You're not secure in what it is you're going to be, the size. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I'm like, the patterns, the vamp's going to change. It's all, so I couldn't do anything until that was all done. So that took like 2 days of sitting, reformatting everything and whatever. And then once I did all of that, then I was like, okay, I'm secure. It's done. Now it's just waiting for the beads. So I did all the vamps, put those on. Now I'm on the cuffs. So it's been like a week's worth of work now. So, and it is dragging though. I could have done that a lot sooner, but it was just life.
Yeah, things happen, like that's the same thing. Like I got home on Friday, Saturday there was the Onage water challenge, and that I spent the day there. And Sunday I was just like, like I almost like I needed a little bit of
a day off.
Because I was going, Margaret, I wasn't home for 3 weeks. Every day I was like beading, I was working, I was trying to get things done and all these other things. And so I finished the majority of the outfits, like I said, for these girls. And thankfully I did stagger. I mean, I did, what was that word you said? Did you say stagger or you?
Cycled.
I cycled everything. So everything was like, I have the moccasins done for both of them. They tried them both on Friday. And that was awesome because I wasn't sure. But I had already the vamp cut. I had the cuff cut. One girl's getting center seam moccasins. One girl wants the whole 9 yards, which is fine. But I didn't have a design up until like the Wednesday night. So I had to do that. And because I am crazy, I went like crazy on the on the cuff.
Well, that's it too. That's me too now.
Like, oh, which I like, which is like, when you're in a time crunch, it doesn't help. But at the same time, I wanted to look good. I don't want to shortchange anybody just because like, I'm like, like I want it to look really good. So it looks, it's ornate. It's or beaded up. I mean, or designed up anyway. But so thankfully I did that. So like all their purses are done. All their cuffs are done. One person's yoke is all done minus the fringe. And I'm not partial to fringe. And she wants fringe. And I was like, I don't really like fringe. So send me a picture or what it is you want. Because I don't look at that kind of stuff because I don't like it for myself. And so, so now I got to do that. And last night I just had a fitting for a yoke. And now I didn't even make the design for the yoke. So now I got to do that. So I'm like, but it'll get done. I know it will. It will. I mean, I have I believe in myself. I believe in myself. I believe I'll do it. But it's something. It's something else.
That's how I feel too right now because like, and there's that pressure, whether you want it or not, there's pressure there for when your own child is graduating as a beader.
Like,
You know, like people are going to be like, all right, what's her son going to be wearing? Or what's her child going to be wearing? Like it does get to that point sometimes because there's an expectation sometimes where it's like, well, you're always beating for everyone else. What are you going to beat for your own child? You know, so it's that kind of thing sometimes like, and it's not a good or bad thing. It's just what it is. So, and I kind of feel like because I probably won't get to everything I want it, I really want his moccasins to have a shitload of stuff on it. So the cuffs, and they're wide. They're like a pretty wide. So that's gonna be, there's a lot all over. And the flowers are like the size of my palms. Like they're big. So I'm like, if I can't get to everything else, those, at least his moccasins will be, you know, they'll be really nice. And eventually I could, you know, finish what I really wanted to do. His gusto I can do later on. Like he'll wear it to Gunusesna and all that stuff. But yeah, I was just kind of like, oh, well, it is what it is. But
yeah, like for me, I don't really care what the other person thinks about like what she can have done. It's more because oftentimes I've beaded for my own kid, but then I was also hired to do something else. And it's that idea that I spent all this time beading for somebody else and my kid might not get everything they wanted or everything I had thought I wanted. That's where I feel like, God, like I remember one time somebody laughed at me. We're at the Longhouse and they said, your kid didn't have any moccasins on. They just had like shoes from Walmart, like, you know, slippers or whatever. And I was just like, that's all they got. Like, you know, they don't got, like, I make moccasins, but sometimes, you know. Like,
well, and that's it though. It's like kind of like, I don't want to shortchange my kid.
Yeah.
Like,
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. That's where we're at.
There's parents' guilt. There you go. Right. Like you're just,
well, I owe it to them if I'm putting all
the guilt,
this time.
For sure.
So I was like, hell no. So, well, we'll see. We'll see.
All you gotta do is make a band and do dots and, you know, like you don't have to go crazy. You could at least make it.
Yeah, but I am crazy. So
I know.
And it has to match. Like for me, everything like
has to match.
It's got to match for me.
Some of the things I've made don't match for the outfits.
Yeah.
Like there might be one thing might have a double line that looks like a braid and the other thing doesn't have it. It just has one line.
That's
like
not
that
a big
kind
deal,
of thing.
But it has to be cohesive to me. Like if the colors are all fricked up and whatever, hell no. But like
I'm not like everything doesn't have to have the same thing on it.
No, me neither. Because like the medallion and his cuffs are not the same.
Yeah.
The flowers, yes. The colors, all of that are the same. But there's the geometric on the medallion. He wanted the waves and all of that. Yeah. So that's on there. But because of the size of the flowers, I'm like, that's not going on the vamps. Like, and I didn't want to do a half and half. Like I've done that. Like, so it's done differently, but it's cohesive. They're not the same though. Yeah. So everything's kind of the same. So, but yeah, that's where we're at. We'll see how it goes.
So our next topic was brought up again from last month is thoughts on beadwork pictures being stolen to scam people. And then you had mentioned that you had seen something, but I just want to say, I don't think it's good. It's not fair. It's not cool to be posting other people's things. And hopefully it's not another Ungwahuma person who's using your photos. I think I've only seen like, what are they called?
Like scammers.
Scammer accounts or whatever. But yeah, I don't think it's really good. And if you see them, you should report it because I think that's how things work. I don't even know.
So I just saw something on Facebook yesterday. It was up. I don't know where it was. It was up north a little bit, I want to say. It was at a powwow. And I don't know how it works. Like I know at home here, I believe you have to be Ungwahuma to be a vendor.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I don't know how it works at other powwows. So it seems like this powwow had non-Ungwahuma vendors and they were selling earrings and all kinds of stuff and whatever. So now the whole post was about this girl buying earrings from this vendor. And then I don't know if it just so happened or if she investigated or what, but all of the products that these people were selling were all from that Temu page.
Is that a Chinese or Japanese site?
Yes. And the earrings, they were all beaded earrings. They're not the nicest, whatever. Like some of them were whatever. Some were nice though. Some were it was like fringy kind of things or whatever. So they were all ordered and bought off Temu for like $2 a piece, being sold for like $35, $40 at the powwow. So people were pissed. It wasn't just that either. It was more that the salespeople, the man and the woman, I think it was a husband and wife, they were they had claimed that it was another, like some little old lady from another reserve who had done all the work for them. And then they saw them all over, like this team, every single piece that, and then more and more people kept posting like, I bought this from them. And then they posted pictures of who they were and names and all that.
Oh,
so there was like a whole slew of people saying like, I bought all of these things from them, like $40, $60, $35, whatever. And then you see it on this page for like $1.50, $2. Yeah. So that was,
so it's a little bit different than stealing somebody else's pictures. That's
that, like, what do you do? Like, because people buy and order things and resell them like that. But in the, like, I don't know what to take of this.
I think it really comes down to the policy that the powwow people have, like their committee have on what people can sell, things can be mass produced, all these different things. Do they have to be handmade and all that kind of stuff? Because like I know, like when I had to read the powwow here in Ganawage, like it says, like you can't bring things that are mass produced. I think they have to, like, you have to be in Ngwahua to be a vendor. You can't have a raffle, different things like that. Like there's certain things that you have to abide by. And so that's, and then it comes up to like the people who are running the powwow. Do they go around and look at the booths?
Yeah.
Because you have to be aware of what people are selling. If, you know, like if you have these conditions, you should be having somebody out there
check on it
at least once, you know, like to see what it is they're selling. So, I mean, so there's that, you know, and maybe this place doesn't care that people are selling whatever, and that's okay. And
the place itself didn't care, but the other people, like everybody who bought, were like pissed. I think more because they were non-Ngwahua, and then the whole lie that it was the story behind it. So they were like, it is calculated. Like, you know, you are actively lying to say that some little old lady's making it. That's Ngwahua, and it's not, you know? So anyways, that was all over Facebook yesterday.
I didn't even see. Man, I have the wrong threads on my Facebook, which is
somebody from town shared it because there's so many powwows now, like all over. There was like one in Kirikanzibi, I think yesterday or on Saturday.
Okay.
There was one in Timmins. There were, you know, so it's like it's all over the place. Yeah. So, and then people on the thread were all kind of like, well, I'm gonna look out for them, like if they're at these powwows.
Yeah, because that's what happens. It's a trail, right? And some people just do that for the whole summer, and so it's.
Yeah, because apparently they were at 2 places already selling all of these items or whatever. So, and they are all mass produced, like they're ordered, you know, kind of thing. So, that was the Facebook dirt yesterday.
Yeah, hopefully we will. Well, we won't be selling any of those kind of things. Not hopefully, we won't be.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of upstanding vendors at the Ganawage powwow, so don't have to worry about that. So,
yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that was last year. I don't know about this year. Who knows? I'm not going to go there.
Who's going to push the buttons?
Who's going to push the buttons? Oh my God. Imagine I wonder how I could get something on my stuff. No, just
oh my God.
Imagine. And I would say it's from there anyway. Okay. So you had some other things you wanted to talk about. I'm not sure if you want to talk about them still. It's up to you.
I don't remember what them were. Let's do the ordering stuff. Those were some things that, you know, flying around.
So this is what we're going to do. We're just going to give a little bit of maybe tips from our perspective and we've talked about this before, but I think it's good to talk about it again, just because it is that time of season for ordering and doing things. And if you haven't been in contact with your beadwork person that you like for next year and you want to order, you better get on them right now. You know, after you listen to this podcast, send them an email or
like
Facebook
now.
and see if they are willing or able to do your order. You really should have did that in the fall of the year prior.
Yeah, just not us. Don't
ask us. Don't ask us, because I'm not taking anybody's order, and that's what I stamped it. No black magic erasing, as they would say when I was in grade 3. Still stands today. But yeah, so if you're ordering things, here are some very helpful tips. 1, make sure you communicate well with your beadwork artist. Please ask your beadwork artist to communicate with you, to reassure you when your things are getting done, what stage of the process they're in. Do not wait till the last minute to ask what it is, where your items are in the shuffle of all of the things that are ordered. 2, if you really want to know what's going on, ask to see pictures. You can ask them to share the designs that they have that for your things. If if you're not in the same location, if you can't see the colors, fabrics, all that kind of stuff. They might say, I can only do these things at a certain time. Keep that in mind. And then when that time comes, and if they haven't given you any update, then call them. You don't have to hound them all the time if they've told you exactly when it is they're going to have it done. Mm-hmm. You should, though, ask for things to be done at a specific time. That's not unreasonable for an artist to have to meet a deadline that you oppose to them. If that's a problem for them, then they'll tell you, hopefully. If they don't tell you, ask them if it's a problem. And sometimes working with one artist doesn't always suit your needs. And artists don't have to work with everybody that asks them to do something. You have a right to say, no, I don't want to. And you don't have to. And you can work and pick and choose who you want to work with. That's your prerogative. But on both sides, for both parties, please communicate. Over the months, we've all seen things on social media about things that have gone awry in this regard. I think the last thing people want to do is to resort to those means. So the best way to counteract that is to have open communication and research who it is you want to work with. That's all there is to it. Not everyone's experience is going to be the same, but sometimes that happens. So do your due diligence to find out who it is you're working with or who is out there. But Margaret wants it. Margaret and I differ in this situation where sometimes I ask for money in the beginning and Margaret doesn't ask for money. But there's something else to go with ordering and picking up your order and following through with that kind of payment and all that kind of stuff. Because you brought that up, and I think that's a really good point too.
Oh yeah, so yeah, so it's like really just about when you are ordering something. Like as an artist, a lot of times we sit there and work on those pieces, and when we're done, like our hands are out, man. Like they're out. Like, okay, I need the payment now. Like that's the reality of most. And especially for artists like me who I don't like the payout to begin with, because then I feel like I'm working for free after a while because that money's gone. Because usually if I am taking on an order or if I'm doing something, it is to pay a bill or it is to whatever, you know. So when you're done with something, you contact the people, and sometimes clients will make you wait. And and it is, I guess, on us to say like, okay, like I do need you to come in. I need the payment and I need, but it gets to the point where sometimes you do feel embarrassed or you feel like, why do I even have to ask that though? Like
you ordered this thing, where's the money?
Yeah, it's done, and so it was funny because I was having this conversation and Greg was in there.
Your husband?
Yeah. So there was a group of us, whatever, talking about it. And I asked him, I was like trying to get a perspective from somebody who wouldn't be an artist. And he was like, for him, he was like, well, if I'm asking for it only in June and you're done in May, I don't feel rushed because while you're done, like I have all of this month or whatever, him not realizing or whatever. So we were like ready to beat him. Like I was like, what? Like, you know how it is as a, for me, like when I'm done something, I'm like, I need that money. Like I want the payment because I spent 2 months working on your thing, pretty much not able to make anything else. So I'm not really making any other money anywhere. So anyways, he was like under fire at that point. But it was an eye opener to see the different points of view. So I was like, oh, okay. So it does really come down to communications to say like, maybe ahead of time, like when I am finished this order, I do require the full payment, like right away. Yeah. Once it's done, like, then I need you to pay for it and come and pick it up. Kind of thing. So, and then I have to play devil's advocate because it did happen to me not too long ago as the buyer and the orderer. I felt so bad. So life does happen sometimes, and I get it. Sometimes when you do have that money set aside for those kind of things, life kicks you in the ass and then the money has to get put elsewhere.
Somewhere else,
So that recently happened with my son's Gastoa, and I really felt bad. I ended up following through with my order, but at one point I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, because
have all the funds ready.
Yeah. And we had the main for everything, but we wanted the uprights on his feathers, for his feathers. So it was an additional cost, and that's that extra little cost. I did request it. I did say, yes, I wanted them, but it was the money for that at the time because it wasn't initially in the first order. I had added it because we were talking about it. So I did add it later on. I was like, it should be okay, you know. Now the time came though, and I was like, oh, so I did have to shuffle things around, like, oh, but I did communicate with him and I said, like, I am right now financially, I really do have to look if I can afford this now. Like, I can do the whole gusto, I could do the main payment. It's the extra little payment. So I did feel bad because I was like, we were just having this conversation about
at the store about that. Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, now I'm the asshole. So,
but you communicated. That's the thing, right? Like you let the person know. Like I may not be able to, I mean, I know you did do it, but in the beginning, like, you know, you have to.
And I felt bad because I was like, you know, they're artists. They're probably waiting for that. Okay, like they budgeted in because I ordered it and now they budget that for their lives or whatever their payments maybe or whatever. So they're like depending on that extra $200-$300 or $400, you know. So I was like, oh shit. So anyways, I made it all work and I was like, okay, I will do it. Like I'm not going to back out on them last minute, you know? So so it does happen. I get it. But the best you can, like try to allocate, get that money there.
Yeah. Because we are
and
struggling.
Get it right away when they're messaging you. We do as I don't know if it's just me, but I do notice like women have a hard time asking for things that they need sometimes. I find like I have a hard time asking for my needs and like sometimes advocating for myself or whatever, you know? So it's like, sometimes that's how I feel. Like I don't always know how to ask for
what you need,
what I need or what I deserve or, you know, so sometimes it is hard sometimes for people to be like, okay, well, I need like, can you please pay me now? Like whatever, you know? So that's how I am too. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want to ask. Like, just goddamn pay me.
Like you order, So I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know what I do. Sometimes, like I just had this incident where I was just like, somebody had given me money already for a thing, and every time we talk, they're like, oh, well, just let me know how much more you need, and I'm just like, well, I don't know, like you know, and I'm just like, I don't know, and no, I don't need anything right now, and you know, we never even said how much it's going to be, and I'm just like, I don't know, whatever. When it's done, we'll figure it out. And but that's the thing. Like I've had people say like, I can only do a payment plan. Sure, no problem. You know, whenever you got it is fine with me. And thankfully I have a little bit of cushion. Like right now I do. I'm not like, oh my God. If I was, I'd be like doing other orders, not orders for free. Like, you know, I only had one order that it was a freebie. But next year I'll have all freebies, you know? So I'm just like, you know, like what can I do now from now until then to subsidize other things? But I'm not taking any orders. So don't be trying to say, oh, I'll help you out by doing this. I don't want your orders. You know, I don't want them. I don't need them when I want it. Yeah. And I, of course, I'd be reaching out to people who already said they wanted things before, you know, and stuff like that. So I
do still, like for me, sometimes like when I subsidize myself, like when I need whatever, I do put out.
They put a raffle.
I do my raffles and I'll only do it when I know I'm not pressed where, when it's not going to suck the life out of me kind of thing. But it's that too. It's having to know your limits. Like there are times where say, you know, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll do a raffle. Like I do need a extra whatever, but I'm like, but I have to stop and be like, okay, look at your timeline, look at life right now. Is it something that you can take on without being stressed? Is it realistic? You know, like you do have to stop yourself sometimes because yes, it's nice to get that payout. It's nice to get the money coming in, but not if you're selling your soul to orders and whatever else, you know, sometimes it's not realistic, you know, and that, I think that goes into some of these issues that we were talking about. Like as an artist too, you have to know your limits and you have to say, I can't take this on. Or if you know, like you're coming up to grad season now and you have orders, you have to communicate to say, you know what?
Yes.
Life has been real rough. I can't get this. I can't get it done. Yes. But don't wait until people are asking you.
Don't wait till last minute. And I mean, last minute is like 2 months before. People think like that's last minute. People think last minute is like a month. No,
it's
at least
3 months. Yeah.
3 because they have to find somebody else to do those other things. Yeah. And that puts somebody in a big lurch, especially if they were counting on certain things like weddings, graduations, babies being born, babies being named. All those things are big monumental times in people's lives. And they usually want their children or themselves to look their best. And you don't want to be messing around with that too. Like, you know, it's not fair. So, same thing, like if people order things and they don't pick them up or buy them or whatever, or don't take them in the end, and then you wasted all your time, that sucks too. So, I mean, it's not cool to be left in a lurch, literally hanging there waiting for somebody. So, So communication is the key to what we're saying, is communicate whatever it is your needs are, communicate your worth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause a lot of times people don't do that. I've seen many people do that.
That's like, I still struggle with that a little bit, where I'm like, oh, okay, you need this done like tomorrow. Okay, I'll do it then.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Not advocating for myself to be like, no, sorry, like no in hell I can get that done. For the most part, I do, like if it's something ridiculous, but like I don't, like I always have to stop and question myself, and it's not first nature yet. So, but yeah, you have to do a lot of self-reflecting and look at things. And
like a lot of times, like I've had people who, and I'm just going to say and be honest right now, I have people who want orders and stuff like that, and I didn't do it. I don't do it. Like I don't, not that I say I don't take it seriously. I take it seriously, but it's not on my priority. Right. Like, and people know that, I think, about me. But then somebody might come along with a really good opportunity and an idea, and I'm like, I'm taking it.
Yeah.
And I don't feel too bad about not filling somebody else's. One, they didn't pay me. I didn't sign a contract. We have a word of mouth thing. Like, I'll get to it when I get to it. But there are certain things as an artist that I want to do, not because I think it's going to be a huge payout. No, but because it's going to be, one, challenging, which is really something that I really look forward. It's going to be a cool project to work on, and something maybe I never did. And I have the prerogative to say, I don't want to take that order, or I want to take that order, or I'm going to move things to the back, or move to the front of the line, depending on what it is. And I'm okay with that, because, hey, we work for ourselves, and we're not like, when we take orders, we have to work for other people. But, like literally we're in charge of our own schedule, however crazy we make it.
Well, and that's it too. It's kind of like, sometimes I look at it. That was another issue that I was having. Like, I do question sometimes if I want to continue teaching.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Lately, I really got pushed and tested to my limits a little bit.
Really? I didn't know that.
The last few months. So it's just been, and it's not on anybody. It's like, I'm not calling anybody out or nothing like that. It's just the situation in itself. And both sides are, I totally understand.
Responsible,
Yeah. But I've had a lot of classes where a lot of the people had backed out last minute.
Oh, okay.
And for
whatever reasons.
So, but as a business,
that's not good business.
It's not good business, especially when I do have refund policies put into place for paint nights and my painting classes, but these were beading, and it's different. It is a little bit different in the whole thing. So now if I continue next fall, I have to put in a whole new policy to protect myself.
Yeah.
And to meet my clients halfway too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a major blow when I had 3 classes. I had 3 moccasin classes, and they're big. They're costly because it's a full day's worth of work. So say the registration was $120. So now if people are canceling last minute, they're requesting back their $120. So when I have a class of 10 people and then 6 don't show up, and then they all request their money back, I'm still sitting there, and you know what I mean? Like, I had all of that time
allotted
for 10 people. Now I'm only getting 4 of the pay, and the other 6 could have gone to other people.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's issues. Like, there were quite a few that it couldn't be helped, So, and whatever reasons are people's reasons, it's not to say they're more important or less important or anything like that. But the situation is, business-wise, it sucks. Yeah. It really sucks. So that put me behind, on top of sitting there trying to bead for my son and not getting a payout for that too. And now having to do refunds. So yeah, that was a major blow. I don't have anything in place. So next year, unfortunately, I'm going to have to do like a refund and cancellation fee kind of thing. Because
like if you don't cancel with
48 hours, 24 hours, whatever.
Because maybe you could fill a spot, right?
Yeah. I could have filled those spots, because especially for beading, because it could take you a whole day to go and get all your materials, because it's not a one-stop shop. You have to go all over the place. You have to source it. Leather is hard right now to find because everyone's trying to kick out moccasins. So the resources aren't there to begin with. So some people need weeks in advance months sometimes to try to source everything. So how can I put it out a day before? And I can still try, but it doesn't mean everyone's going to have everything they need. So it's not fair. And then to have those classes that are in major high demand, people are constantly asking me to do them and then
not filled.
And then to not have them filled, which sucks. So that was where I was at like a few weeks ago. I was just kind of like, I'm done. Like, I just really don't want to deal with it really anymore. So yeah, I have to like relook at the whole plan and the whole thing. But right now I'm done. Like, I'm fried. I'm done.
I mean, like you've been going nonstop since the pandemic, and that's like, that's 4 years.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And it's interesting because I've done some reflection on the teaching aspect just because, well, when I was in Oneida, I hand selected 4 women to work with me so I could teach them how to make these cradle board wraps. And that's what I wanted to do for the end project of my exhibit and to help to give them the opportunity to have cradle boards there in their community because I didn't see a lot of them. And I thought it'd be good to have these families have them, these clan families. I was specific. I picked one person from each clan. Of course, there was 5 of us. So of course there was like duplicates of one. But that was my goal, is to help do this for them. And so then I gifted them the boards and they did their own wraps and all that stuff. So with that being said, of course I was doing it. I purposely picked people who were crafty, knew how to bead, different things like that, because I didn't want to start from scratch because I knew I was working on my own project. I knew that my time would be limited and I didn't know if I was able to fulfill the goal, right? And I wanted to be successful in fulfilling what I wanted to do. So that's what I did, is I picked these people, we got together, we talked about all the stuff that you would need and things like that. And some of them never use size 15 beads. Some people have different things like that. So it was really nice to see how they adapted to the new technique. And then it wasn't even technique. Maybe one time I showed them how to fill in a flower, like different things like that, but nothing like, I never had to actually bead. I drew it out. I think you started doing on a whiteboard too, like kind of thing like that. So, so I did that and everybody's stuff turned out wonderful and they all had a learning experience. It was great. And I said, and I kept thinking to myself, like, I should do things like that more often because the reality is that I don't know if any of my kids are going to bead, I don't really know. And I have stuff to share, I guess. And so it would be, what do they say? Like, what would we say? Like hoarding, not hoarding, like gatekeeping my talents, but not being able to like share them, But I realize is that I want to pick who I share them with. And I want to teach people that I want to work with, that I feel like I'll work well with. And if I ever have a class, probably, I'm not going to say it's a first come, first serve. I'm going to ask people, would you like to take a class with me? And it won't be open to the public. And it'll be just people that I want to work with. Because I want to work with people I get along with, people who I see have potential to do different things that I see. I mean, I know that people have potential. Everyone has potential. But I want to work with certain people. Or I want to work with a certain age group or whatever, all these things. And that's how I think I'm going to do it. And that's how I'm going to get around to a little bit of anxiety about teaching people, is because I do have a little bit of that. Like, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't want to do anything. And I don't want to have to, I just don't want to. And I think I can, and I think I've earned that, like I've earned it. I kind of know what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. And I don't think I'll be good at that. And then that's not going to be good for somebody else. And then there are other teachers out there who want to do that. And that's cool. But if I ever do a class, I'm going to be like, I want you and you, are you interested? And maybe 4 people and that's it. And then if people want to be upset about those things, well, I stamped it on the beading table. Like, that's what I want to do,
you don't owe it to everybody.
Yeah. And I think that's what we have to do, is you have to take that power and know what's good for us. Like you were just saying, like advocate for yourself and
know what your limits are.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of where I'm going with it right now. Like today I have a private class with somebody who.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah. So she had written last week. I wasn't available last week, but so I'm taking her just one-on-one.
Good.
And that's kind of the direction that I think I'm leaning to. Like, if you want to put in the work, if you want to come and do that, I'm a little bit more open to doing one-on-ones and teaching privately and things like that, and not in such a large setting like this anymore. Because I just felt more like, I don't know, it's like time is money, time is precious. You know what I mean? Like that was a Saturday where I could have been home with my kids. I could have been home with Greg. I could have been home with my animals now.
You could have been just doing whatever it is you wanted to do.
I could have been working on my son's stuff.
Yeah.
So and not to knock the 4, because there were still 4 people there. So I was thankful that they were there. They got the knowledge, and that class actually went really well because there was only 4 of them.
Yeah.
So there was a lot less to have to manage.
Yeah.
So that worked out great. But it did put into perspective that, you know what, I think if I continue teaching, it is moving into smaller classes now where it will only be 4 people or 5 people, because I don't want to waste my time anymore. And that's how I felt. I felt like my time was being wasted, and I wasn't loving it anymore. So yeah. So I think in the future, that's where I'm going now, where it's either private or very small groups too. I'm just not in that space anymore, and I don't really want to do it that much anymore. I don't know. I need a break, I guess.
Well, like I said, you've been teaching a lot.
Yeah.
Not just beadwork, paint nights and just other things too.
Yeah,
So
I need some time off. I need a break, because it's getting to the point where I'm starting to get resentful. So it's it's time to stop, and take a break. So there's always that idea, like, it's that whole word, the whole gatekeeping. I really hate that word, but it's also that, like, the idea of like the responsibilities. But sometimes it's people who don't have these things that they want it from somebody, and then they throw out those words to say, oh, you're gatekeeping, but it's easy to throw that at people without knowing where they're coming from, to say, like, somebody could say I'm gatekeeping because, oh, well, I don't want to share it, or I don't want to do it. But I'm an open book. I tell everyone about my life. Like, I'm dealing with a lot of bullshit all the time, or I have a store, I'm teaching beading, and then and it's like that, you know what I mean? So I don't like that idea of like the responsibility that has to fall on you because you're an artist and because you have this, like, I don't got to do shit.
That's true. I mean, but at the like, for me, like, when I say like I've noticed, is that I literally did, is that, I mean, I don't know if I taught anybody. Maybe I did. Maybe we're teaching people right now. I mean, and that's okay too. Like, but I don't know. I just saw a lot of really good stuff with those ladies, and it just was a really nice thing. Maybe it was just because I felt glad to have a beading group there too, because I was beading by myself, and, and all that. And it's interesting because it didn't matter where I went. Like, I mean, it didn't matter if the location was in Ganawage or in Oneida or at Western Campus. The vibe was still the same. The beading table is where I want to be at, and that's like one of the things that I wrote. Because I've had to write small bios and small snippets of all kinds of stuff for everything that I've been doing in this past eight months. And that's where I feel success. I feel success and safety at the beading table. And that's where I want to be. And so I think maybe just reawakening that, like, because getting together with the bead girls or bead babes or beading biddies or whoever the groups are is what I want to do in the fall. So yeah. And maybe they'll be teaching there, and maybe that'll be suffice. That'll be fine. But that's what I think. If I ever do it for anybody in any other scale, is I just don't want to just do whoever wants to, because I don't want to work with everybody. Just like not everybody wants to work with me. That's cool.
It's the dedication, though. It is. It's yeah. That's how it all goes.
Yeah. So communication. Sometimes you communicate better with others. So
yeah,
that's kind of
the way it goes.
Maybe if anybody has a story they want to share, maybe for the upcoming beading table in July, of maybe powwows, 1990, different things like that, what it was like as a kid. Maybe we could go back down memory lane. God. I mean,
I will warn you, I will probably cry because I still get
so
enraged.
Will I.
I can't. I have a hard time. There's like all those videos out there,
and
I still watch them, and I can't. I just want to like throw up and cry, and they piss me off so bad.
It was so wild because I was in the Ready One Nerds program, and I think I was the oldest person in the class, and a lot of the people in that class that necessarily lived through 1990 or were so small they didn't remember anything.
Babies, yeah.
And we watched that movie, and I had to leave twice from that class. I couldn't watch it because I was like, I was just totally brought back to that spot and just everything that went on, and it was just like,
the majority of my cohort too were, I think I was like the third oldest in the class.
Yeah,
the rest were like a lot younger, and a lot of them exact same thing. They didn't live it, or they couldn't remember, or they weren't alive yet. So yeah. But that would be interesting.
Yeah. So anybody out there who might not know exactly what we're talking about 1990, the Gonasadage 1990. That's called the Oka crisis. I think if you press that in anywhere on the internet, you will see a lot of things, and that's just something that one of the things we might be talking about next month, if I remember. But if you have any stories about anything like that, uplifting stories, interesting things, that's what comes around the beading table often, and yeah. Yeah, you're more than welcome to like drop us a line or whatever, which is like, the whole topic. Yeah, we are getting ready to start our next super hopefully laid back, not so busy season for the summer until fall. And we'll be here in July, and hopefully everybody else will be here. And I guess I will just want to wish you all a very good day. Hopefully it's nice and sunny where you are, or you're enjoying a cup of tea or coffee or whatever it is, a stiff drink if that's what if you need. But I don't know if it'll help you with your beading if that's the case. It might be
I need a stiff Starbucks right now.
I don't drink Starbucks anymore.
I can't do their coffee and I'll put hair on your ass, but I do.
I don't buy anything from there anymore. I've stopped. Yeah, I'm boycotting. I'm boycotting Starbucks for anybody who's interested. If you want to, go ahead. If you don't want to, that's your prerogative. But I
don't want to. I can't.
And I've also, yeah. You know what was really nice? I want to just say on a really good note.
We're supposed to be wrapping up. Sorry, people. We're going on.
But I just want to say, kindness goes a long way. The other night we were at a local eatery and my daughter was saying, don't forget to say thank you. Don't forget to say thank you. And she was talking to my youngest one, when they give the water, don't forget to say thank you. And at one point I was in a conversation with my son and the woman poured the water. And then my daughter said, stop you. I said, I'm having a conversation. She's not done pouring yet. By the time she gets there, I'll say thank you. But thank you for reminding me, because kindness goes a long way, and it was just interesting to see that that's something that maybe I taught her, or maybe she picked up because she goes all over the place. She goes, but I know how to say nyawa, merci, thank you. She goes, because that's what her experience is, right, in the city. And so just to let you know, everybody, kindness goes a long way. Say thank you, or be kind to somebody who you're next to, or in the next few moments, if you might see somebody after listening to this, just be kind. And even if they may, just give them a little smile, the little 2 fingers up and howdy, whatever. Just have a good day and enjoy each other's company.
Okay, then.
Ona nyawa for listening to the Beading Table.
Goodbye.
The views and opinions of the guests expressed in this podcast do not reflect those of Udiwase and its employees.